for generic drug ingredients, and lawmakers say that's a growing national security concern. Today, the Senate Committee on Aging held a hearing to discuss the risks and possible solutions. NTD's Chris Bob has the latest from Washington.
What if I told you that Communist China, an adversary of the United States, has sole control of the building blocks of many of the medicines seniors Americans rely on?
Lawmakers on the Senate Special Committee on Aging held a hearing Wednesday examining America's dependence on foreign drug manufacturing.
China's regime believes it's at war with us. China, to win this war, has a doctrine of unrestricted warfare. 100 of America's most used pharmaceuticals, they require ingredients that are made in only one Chinese factory.
Experts say even drugs produced outside China often rely on Chinese ingredients.
India, the other heavyweight production center for generics, they get 80% of their active pharmaceutical ingredients from China.
Is that the United States has become reliant on China and India for key ingredients to manufacture generic drugs, active pharmaceutical ingredients, and key starting materials. Congress must empower the FDA to conduct rigorous oversight to make sure foreign manufacturers comply with our safety standards.
Witnesses told senators U.S. drug companies have been gradually pushed out of the market.
China enticed U.S. manufacturers to their shores. Drug makers soon realized they were subject to Chinese rules, laws, patent agreements. They were required to have Chinese Communist Party members on their boards and relinquish up to 51% of their companies to state-owned enterprises. Corporations must give up their drug formula for approval. If not surrendered freely, they're stolen. Chinese companies then spring up, creating the exact same drug and selling it below cost.
Committee Chairman Senator Rick Scott is pushing legislation aimed at increasing transparency about where medicines are made. In an exclusive interview with me last year, he explained,
when you put a generic drug in your body, you really actually don't know what's in it, right? 80% of the generic drugs that you put into your body come from India and China, right? 90% of the ingredients come from China. On the label, it should say, where are the ingredients from? And where was it manufactured?
He said our supply chain is vulnerable during a geopolitical crisis.
You know, if we go to war, which none of us want to go to war, but logically the country that we'll go to war with is the same country we're dependent on, China, which is foolish, right?
Witnesses also discussed economic tools that could help rebuild U.S. production.
Can we use tariffs to help us out with China?
Section 232 tariffs, I think, are very important in that regard. And if the president were to invoke the Defense Production Act, these are things that could stimulate domestic production immediately.
But we don't have time to play around with this. This is imperative that we get this done within the next year and a half, 2 years, period.
Senator Scott and colleagues have introduced the bipartisan Clear Labels Act, which would require drug labels to disclose where ingredients and finished products are made and give patients more transparency about what they're taking. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Chris Bob, NTD News.
A bipartisan pair of senators unveiling a new bill aimed at protecting Falun Gong